I get so frustrated, but I have to remind myself the beauty about my journey is that I have had the most pure, organic, incremental growth in my business, in my personal life, in my mentality, in everything. God knows exactly what I need, what I can handle, what I need to learn. Baby girl, you're not ready for that yet. Focus on oh, you mastered that? I'm gonna graduate you to this. Oh, okay, you did that? Oh, you did a piece for that NBA player? Okay, I'm gonna get, I can get you Walmart. I'm gonna get you a thing with Walmart. Oh, okay, biggest retailer in the world. Bigger than Amazon.
All this money coming to me. No handouts, I really had to do it for me. Watch me work.
Hey guys, welcome to Business 101, the shit they don't teach you. We bring entrepreneurs on here so that they can talk to you about their journey, the things that they've learned and the things that they struggle with, so that you can learn from their lessons and talk about the shit that nobody teaches you when you go into entrepreneurship. Today we have a friend of ours, Marian.
Hi. Hi guys.
She's a local artist here in Dallas. And so we're going to talk a little bit about her. And I guess we can start with
Thank you for having me.
How we met.
Yes, let's talk about how we met.
So what were you saying? You were saying we were following each other.
It was 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I remembered because I signed a painting. That was when it was. It was 2018, and we had been following each other on Instagram because we had a lot of mutual friends, but we hadn't actually met
in person.
And I posted this painting, and you reached out to me. And
Yeah.
you were like, you were like, I think I want to buy that painting.
Yeah, I DM'd her. I was like, how much is it? I had just quit my job, so I didn't have like a whole lot of money to spend on paintings.
Yeah.
But I was like, I really want this painting. Like, it was so perfect. And I remember she sent me like the message of what the painting meant. And so I was like, I have to have this painting. So we met. And then it kind of gets funny because so we picked a location, and I thought the location was closer than it actually was. And I had Marian waiting for me for like 30 minutes.
Right. Well, see, so she messages me like, let's meet like at lunchtime. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go meet her on my lunch break. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was my lunch break during
She
work.
still had a real job.
So we decide that we're just gonna meet at this like Walmart parking lot to like do the exchange. And so I'm like sitting there waiting, like, oh my God, I'm gonna be late, like getting back to work. And I'm messaging my boyfriend at the time, back and forth between Amber and my boyfriend. And I text her thinking it's my boyfriend, and I'm like, where is she? Like, I've been waiting for so long.
No, you messaged me after we met. So you gave me the painting, and you were like, she took so long. And da-da-da-da. But it was like one of those moments where I couldn't even be mad because I was like, I did take long. And I was on the phone with my best friend, and I like bust out laughing. And I was like, she's talking about me.
She's talking.
But I messaged you back, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
but
no,
you sent this message to the wrong person.
I was mortified.
I can only imagine it's like texting a client when you meant to text like your friend. And
Yes.
you're like, did I really send or
Yes,
sending the wrong person a picture?
Exactly. Like, I was so embarrassed.
No, I wasn't even mad. I was like, I did take long. That was
Hilarious.
messed up.
But it made for a really great anecdote
Yeah.
to open up your podcast.
Yeah, because I mean,
5
we
years
didn't
later.
have like bad blood. I still supported her through everything. I remember when she had her first art show, and it was in Design District, and I was like telling all my friends, we had just got back from like LA or something, somewhere out of town, and I was like, we have to go. And I was like, everybody has to be there. And so I made sure everybody went. And I remember that's where you bought that shirt from her.
No, I bought it online.
Yeah, she bought it
bought
online.
her shirt.
She bought
I bought
online,
the
and she
shirt
bought
online.
prints online. I remember that too.
Because I bought Tony in print, and then I bought like 3 or 4 prints.
Maybe it was
It
Shelley
was
who
like
bought
a
stuff.
Black Friday or something.
Yeah, it
type
had
of
a
sale.
sale.
And I was like,
It
let
was
me
actually
buy
during
all this stuff.
COVID. It was during COVID. I did like a COVID
I think
sale.
I was
I don't know
also
what the.
pretty much unemployed at the time.
So that's a trend. We support you when
Yes,
we're
you
unemployed.
you guys have been like unwavering in your support, even despite my text faux pas.
But
We
now,
definitely would have said the same thing.
And then Gabby met her.
Yeah, and then I met you. We went to your event, I think, before I found your space.
Yes.
That
was
was
in
before we found the
2019 was when you guys
No,
came
it was
to
like
my
last
event.
year.
Oh, the last event.
Yeah, the
yes,
last
that was
one.
November
Oh,
2021.
was that the first event you went to?
I don't think I went to the first one that y'all went to.
Okay.
Or whoever you went with.
Yeah, you came to the
I went
to
to
the
the last one.
McTube show. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then she texted me and she was like, I need a commercial space.
Yes.
And I was like, I have the perfect commercial agent
Oh,
for you.
I know when I met you. It was New Year's, and we were drunk, and I was in the bathroom.
I so remember this.
I do remember that
That was
because
New Year's 2020. Yes.
And I think you're like, are you okay or something?
And you came and got me
Yes,
and said,
that was
you need to
that
go
was
check
when
on
we
your
met.
sister.
And do you
I
know?
was just in the bathroom. I think I was
No, she was just in the bathroom. And when I'm walking,
I think I just hugged her.
when I'm walking out, yeah, we hugged, we said hi, like I recognized you. I'm like, oh, that's Amber's sister. We said hi. I'm walking out, and as I'm walking out of the bathroom, this guy hems me up against the wall and was like, I need a painting. And I'm like, okay, like buy one. Like he literally, I don't know who that guy was. He literally hemmed me up against the wall, and I got scared. And he was like, I need a painting. And I'm like, oh my
It was like, it's time for me to go.
That's really
It's
tough.
New Year's Eve.
I
This
just
is not the
remember she
time.
came back and she was like, your sister's in the restroom. You should go check on her. Because they weren't letting people in that New Year's party.
That was
Oh,
a big.
yeah.
They had a big
Mhm. We had a whole
ordeal at the
section.
door. Yeah, it was a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. So moving forward, just so we could get to know you a little bit, because we know you, but just so the people on the camera can get to know you.
Yeah.
What song do you think best describes where you're at right now?
where I'm at right now, I would say Drake, Elevate. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
He says, elevate, elevate, only obligation is to tell it straight. So much on my plate, I gotta delegate. And then he says, laying in bed awake, thinking how to make all this happen for my friends and my family. This can't even be real, or something.
When I
can't
first
be
announced
real.
my team, that's the song I picked. too.
Yeah, I've been learning to delegate. I have right now two ladies that work with me. Micah Williamson. I have to shout these ladies out because of how much they do for me. Micah Williamson, she does like content creation type stuff for my emails, like my newsletters. She does all my newsletters. She helps me scale my business, helps me with events, all kind of stuff. And then Whitney Warren is like my little, like, I adore her. She helps me with product development and tech packs for merchandise, and I'm putting out a new streetwear line. It's in the works right now. Hopefully, the blanks came in. We're developing the tech packs, so Whitney helps me with all the like ideation and design elements and things like that when it comes to my like streetwear. She's super like talented when it comes to fashion. So
And Micah's like your best friend, right?
Micah, so I met Micah in 2018, so we've been knowing each other 4 years. It was so funny, and I love this about Micah. I love that Micah did this. She and I met, she came to an art show that I was, displaying work at. She bought a few prints. We stayed in touch, but she just started out as a client. And then she DM'd me one day and was like, I know this is so weird, but like, I just got out of a relationship and realized I don't have any really great, like, business-minded, like, female friends. Like top tier female friends that are not, like, about partying and whatever. I don't have any. She's like, would you want to just, like, go get coffee and, like, see if we could develop a friendship?
Oh, that's nice.
And I was like, yeah. Because I was in a relationship at that time, but I didn't feel like I had real, like, solid women friends, like, so she and I go meet up at Ascension Coffee, and the rest is history. We've always had a friendship that's always been rooted in creativity and business. And when I knew I wanted to start, scaling my business and truly taking certain things that I know I can do but are taking away from me doing what I need to be truly doing and focusing on, I knew Micah was the one. And Micah found herself in a crazy situation that pushed her into entrepreneurship. And now she herself is her own boss, and she has several clients. I'm just one of her clients, and she runs her own business now. So
I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
like, does she help other people?
yeah, she has I think she probably
Like,
has
I want her.
she has like a probably a roster of maybe right now probably I want to say 5 to 7 clients that she assists with scaling their business, and she's phenomenal. So if you
What
ever
made
need
you? I know you do artwork mainly, but you also do your merchandise, and I know you've told me before the
Yeah.
difficulties that you had
Oh,
and
my
your
God.
print shirts and
Oh, my
finding the right printing company.
Oh, my
and
God.
So what made you decide to scale to doing merchandise? Was like something scary, or you just felt like people would gravitate more towards that than artwork if they couldn't afford it?
It's a matter of two things. I decided to start merchandise or like a streetwear line for two reasons. One of them that you named is that a lot of people can't afford my original artworks or even commission artworks. There's like a tier, if you will, you know, originals and commissions, prints, limited edition prints. When I say limited edition, I mean they're signed, they're numbered, they're only 1 of 50, they carry value in the secondary market. And then you come down to things like, you know, merchandise, clothing, you know, private instruction, things like that. So I wanted to create like a funnel for my business of being able to hit any and every consumer. So that's number one. And number two, there's 2 lanes for artists. There's the fine art route, which is you are in the galleries, you are splitting your commissions with, when I say commissions in that sense, you're splitting your profit 50-50 with the gallery. Now, granted, the gallery does so much for you. There's a reason why artists want to be represented by a gallery, right? Like they'll do your publicity, you know, they do all your PR, all your email blasts. They do all the transport for your artwork. They do all the curation for your artwork. They pay for your studio rent. You want a dope ass $13,000 frame that you got from this antique store, they're gonna pay for it. All those things. So the fine art route is a world that is very exclusive. They don't let people in that don't have an MFA, Master in Fine Arts, and you have to come from, you know, some Ivy League art educate. It's very, you know, it's an anomaly if you make it into that world without having all these, you know, whatever, credentials. Then there's the luxury art route. So a great example of a luxury art brand. Have you ever heard of Takashi Murakami? He does those like
The little like
flower.
Yeah.
He did Kanye West's album cover for Graduation. He does the bear with the you know. He is a master of luxury art because he's been able to do great collaborations with Rolex, Perrier sparkling water, you name it. He's done, but at the same time, you can get a Takashi Murakami painting for thousands of dollars, but he will always be able to find his merchandise. So to answer your question, I wanted to start a streetwear line to establish true branding as a luxury art brand, not just as a painter, but a walking brand. And you guys are getting an exclusive announcement. I haven't even posted it on anything I've done yet, but for 16 years, everybody in my circle and on social media has known me as Mare Bear, because that's my handle. That's even when I'm out, people say, "Oh my God, Mare Bear." The streetwear line is Mare Bear.
Oh, nice.
It's a bear, but his eye changes he has one regular eye, and the other eye is constantly changing with each iteration of the bear. So it might be that one eye is a heart and the stuffing's coming out. One might be an art palette and the paint is dripping off. One might be a slimy looking smiley face, but it's all with the messaging, how the bear is going to be, you know, changed up. And then what's great about it is if that, God willing, in the future, when a brand wants to collaborate, now their branding goes in the eye, if you will.
Yeah.
The whole point of it is I meet so many people that are like, oh my God, you're an artist. Oh, I used to love drawing growing up, but I never like kept doing it. Like, oh, I used to draw. And it's like, I think we lose that childlike wonder and that childlike imagination as we get older. And the artists are just ones that kept doing it, you know? And I want to encourage anyone and everyone, regardless of if you're an artist or creative, to always keep that like childlike wonder alive. Yeah. So trust me, when you see the bear, it's not cheesy. It's gonna look really dope.
So when mentioning the bear, what emoji do you think describes you?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say the one that's like smiling and melting at the same time. Or like the upside down smiley face, like because it's just like always something going on in my world. And I think that just perfectly.
And your brain is always
and
just
my
going.
brain is nonstop.
I can imagine, because everything you're saying you're doing, I'm like, that is so dope. Like, and I never thought about the funneling of it, because you have cups, you have the canvas bags. Don't you have like makeup bags?
We did
too?
makeup bags, and that's the thing. Those makeup bags sold out like immediately. So now I'm like, okay, with this Mare Bear line, you have to do like an elevated pouch of some sort, like that could be doubled as a makeup bag,
like a wallet.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna come with it. So the first product mix we're planning to do. The first product mix is 3 different shirts, a jogger short, and some dad hats and like a keychain thing. And so that's where we're starting. But it's gonna continue to, yeah.
Do you have like a launch date?
Not yet.
Okay.
I don't want to say yet. We are in the production phase.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that the design translates how I envisioned it onto the shirts, and the colors are matching, and like as we talked about, there's
I remember he was like, he could not get the shirts right, and he would not listen.
I need folks to know just how much goes into creating. It's not as simple as design it and slap it on. That's not how it goes. It's so complex.
I'm
process.
that tedious about emails. Like, just emails alone, like the communication. Her eyes. Just communication alone, because, like, so I have an assistant, or we have an office assistant. And you've probably dealt with Chelsea just a little bit. And then now I'm pulling some of her work away because our team is growing, and so it's a lot for her. And so I'm pulling some of her work away, and I'm outsourcing some. And so with me outsourcing, I've created like exactly how I want communication to go, because I don't ever want my client to have to call me and be like, so what do I do here?
Right.
And I'm like, dang it. Like in the email, like it should be an email, a text. We communicate 3 times the same thing. And so we have this new person that's doing it, and she sent out the first email, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, I sent her a text. I'm so sorry. I'm super anal. And Ricky will tell you, I'm super anal, and I don't mean any offense by this, but this is what I like. A matter of fact, let me just send you the templates that I use. You don't have to do exactly what I do, but I want you to get an idea of what I expect.
A girl after my own heart.
Because I want you to work with us, and I want to work with you, but this is what I want.
Yeah.
And so she's like, no problem. It's okay. And then like today she's texting me, I'm sorry to bug you. And I was like, bug me away, because I want it done right.
Yeah. When's your birthday, Amber?
June 19th.
Oh, you're a Gemini. Okay.
When's yours?
August 27th. I'm a Virgo.
A Virgo. Yeah. You're a perfectionist.
Virgo is perfection.
My best friend's a Virgo.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
I'm an Aquarius.
Okay.
So what do they say about Virgos?
One of my best friends is an Aquarius. Virgos are perfectionists. We can be very critical, but it's always meant out of love. We have an insane work ethic. I think it's like unmatched. Think Beyonce. Think Kobe Bryant. Like that's just who we are. We're wired that way. We're very nurturing to the ones that we like truly love, but we are always in our own head. We're always overthinking.
What do they say about Aquarius?
I'm a true Virgo.
That we're moody, or we're not very emotional.
Yeah, emotionally detached.
Yeah. That we kind of just go with the flow sometimes, and we're like in our own world.
They're also very curious, if there's very specific topics that they're into, they're gonna like read up on every bit of that topic. They are very independent.
So you're into signs.
I
So
am.
what do they say about Geminis?
Geminis are
Other
my
than
dad,
2 mood swings.
My dad is a Gemini. Well, it's true. Like, you just don't really know what you're getting that day. Geminis are like very loving people, like truly very loving people. But you just gotta catch them in the right space.
You're looking at me.
In the right space on the right day, and you don't play with them. Don't play with them. They will. Yeah,
They'll cut you.
they will cut you.
Yeah, no. And the other thing too, like work ethic wise, like it's hard for us to focus in on one thing, but once we figure out that one thing, it's kind of like the Aquarius. We can't unfocus on it,
Yeah.
like, and it has to be
You're
perfected.
fixated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. Like I'm always all over the place, so I try to write down my ideas.
Yeah.
And then I'll try to pick one thing and be like, okay, focus on this, and then go to this next one. Don't do too much at one time.
Right.
Because she'll bug me 50 million times, and I'll be like, I've already done it. I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, tell me something.
Okay. Next question.
What is your favorite, like, what is your hobby outside of work? I know you cook.
I
You're
cook.
always cooking.
I
You
love to
work
cook.
out.
This is side note. I love to cook, but I truly love to cook when I have someone to cook for. If I don't have someone to cook for, I'm like lazy and like mean to myself, if you will. I was just having a conversation with Whitney, who I mentioned earlier, and it's like when I'm like in a relationship, I'm cooking things from scratch.
I remember that.
We're baking cakes. We're doing all kind of, But when it's just me, it's like, yeah, let's just like slap this tuna on some bread and call it a day, right? And she's like, why is it that you don't love yourself
Enough to do the same
enough
thing.
to do what you would do for somebody else? Love yourself enough to cook for yourself, like an intricate, elaborate meal. So that's actually a thing, because I got out of a relationship like coming up on 2 years ago, and I've noticed over the last 2 years, I'm not doing what I used to do for myself as far as cooking. But hobbies outside of work, I would say working out, cooking, traveling, no question, traveling, shopping.
Yeah.
I read. I like to read fiction. I'm reading this book right now called 11 Minutes. What else do I like to do? Shopping, working out, eating, traveling, playing basketball. I played basketball for a lot of my life, so I like to play basketball.
And now you're a dog mom.
And now I'm a dog mom,
What kind
so
of
I go
dog do
take
you
my
have?
dog to the park. His name is Mac. He's 7 months old, and he's a golden retriever,
don't
and
think
he
I'd
is the
even know this.
cutest thing ever.
He's all on her page, everywhere. She posted him today while she was doing her makeup.
I don't think I ever. If I
to
did,
sit
it's
there
just
and watch me do my makeup, and I'll show him. I'm like, okay, Mac. First, we're gonna do our concealer, and then we're gonna. And he'll literally sit there and watch the whole process. Like, this bitch is crazy.
My dog watches me use the restroom, so I just think
Yeah.
they like to be up under you.
They love to just, yeah. What kind of dog do you have?
A Frenchie,
Oh, what's his or her name?
Simba.
Oh,
So
Simba.
it's a boy.
So
Simba
cute.
is coming up on 2,
Oh, wow.
and so yeah, he just like he'll lay on your feet.
Yes.
So when he falls asleep, he'll lay on your feet. And I know that's a way to mark your territory, but I also think
He wants to feel close to you.
Yeah, he wants to feel close, but he'll cuddle. I was telling the guys, like, if he was here and we were sitting on this
He'd
sofa,
probably be right here.
he'd be right
Yeah.
here.
Aw, cute.
But if we're not leaning back, he won't be right here. He wants
He has
to sit
to
on
feel
your
you.
shoulder. Yeah.
He has to
So
feel
he'll
you.
even lean over and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like we have pictures where he's like squeezing in between me and the
Aw,
sofa. He just
baby.
has to, like, he needs
Touch
the
you.
pillow, but he has to touch me.
Yeah.
And there's like a video I have where his leg is on me, and I'm kicking his
Aw,
leg off
so
of me, and he
cute.
keeps putting
Putting it back.
and I keep kicking it off of me, and he looks up and he's like, "What are you doing?"
They are those dogs are just so amazing, and I love what they teach you. Like, they teach you to like trust your instincts. They teach you that not everything's about you, that like you gotta, but like I take Mac to the studio with me almost anytime I'm at the studio, he's with me because number one, protection, but I don't know. And then there's moments when I find myself like I wouldn't be laughing or smiling otherwise. Like I might have just been in a mood or something, and then he'll do something funny and it'll make me laugh, and it'll remind you like,
Relax.
yeah, like
All okay.
yeah, they
even
bring
just
so
come
much
and
to your
cuddle
life.
with you and just make you feel better.
Yeah, he's my little studio buddy. Yeah. So, yeah, those are my hobbies. And Mac is one of my new hobbies.
I was like, you can't leave him
Yeah, we
out,
can't
but
leave
I know
Mac
how
out.
important
Mac
he
and
is to
Mare.
you.
Mac and Mare Bear.
So if you could travel anywhere today, since you like traveling, where would you go? Like your dream trip?
Right now, I am dying to just go to the Maldives. I just want to go to the Maldives. I'm like, I live for the water. I taught myself how to swim. That's how much I never went to one swimming lesson. Like, I'm like a little mermaid deep inside my heart. I would love to go to the Maldives just for like relaxation purposes. But for a more cultural or like dope trip, I don't know. I would say, I don't know. You guys went to Brazil and I'm really jealous. I'd want to go to Brazil. I'd want to go to Thailand, Vietnam. Where else? Yeah.
I think that was
Brazil looked amazing.
Yeah, the cool
was.
thing about like Brazil or places like when you say cultural, I like that they don't try to speak English. I thought that was really cool. They don't want our money. Like, you know, in Mexico,
They'll
or you
take
go
They'll
to
take
American
American
money.
dollars. No, you
They
need to
won't.
come here, and this
And
is our
be-
country.
yeah.
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 Like they're true to themselves.
and they're not
exactly.
they're not trying to learn. Like when I was looking up excursions and stuff, a lot of them was like they don't speak English. They don't speak English. Like I know.
Why would you expect them to, though?
Yeah.
This is their country.
And then when we would say stuff and we'd be like, well, I don't know, they would kind of look at each other and I'd be like,
well, we don't
"These
know
stupid
either."
Americans. And so I was pulling out apps and the
Translating.
crazy part, yeah, but I think it was so funny to us that they would laugh with us.
Yeah.
We went to dinner one night. They bought us shots and gave us a bottle just because they liked our energy. Like we
Yeah.
weren't trying to make them conform to us. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I imagine how many Americans
Oh,
come
yeah.
here and are like,
Mad.
I've seen
Because
it.
they'd be like, we're so sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like when I've been to Europe twice by myself. I did like solo trips, and I would, you know, read the menu, and sometimes they have English translations, but sometimes it's all in that language. And sometimes you just gotta be like, look, from what I can read, it looks like it'd be good. Let me just be open to whatever comes out. Like, don't be upset that you couldn't, like, it's an adventure. Like, we're just gonna learn. But I remember seeing like other Americans in restaurants complaining, oh my God, they don't put any ice in their Coke. Oh my God, what a small cup. Like,
they
can't
move
I get
slow.
And
They always move slow.
and
in
I'm
those
like,
countries.
They're so relaxed.
enjoy where you are.
Like, you came to their
You
house
came
and now
here,
you're complaining.
but you want everything to be like America. This is not America. Why would you expect it to?
Now,
Stay
we
in
have our
America.
Google Translate app,
Right.
and it changes the words to English, and we're like, it says this. What does that mean? Let's Google it.
Or like, we don't know what ingredient it is, even though it's in like English. We're like, I've never even heard
The
of
key is to always make sure you have a pocket Wi-Fi device so you can Google anything at any time. Yeah.
Yeah, or we'll look up. You can go on Yelp too. We'll
Oh, yeah,
look
look at
up-
their
Yes,
pictures.
yes. Yelp is key.
Yeah. Even when we went to Europe, it was like that. Some places didn't speak English, but we knew to go to like Italian restaurants there. Like so many people gave us tips on what to do.
that.
Yeah.
Because you learned the first night when
Yeah,
you were
the
there.
first night I went to a restaurant and I was about to cry. The food was so nasty, and when I sent it back, they brought me something else. But they don't do like we do here.
They're
like,
gonna charge you for
They're
it.
gonna
Yeah, you have to
charge
pay
me
for
for
it.
each plate I eat. And so I think I ended up paying $800 for a meal.
Oh my goodness.
And I was about to cry. And so I told my best friend, I was like, I don't have to go to these fancy restaurants.
Right,
Like,
let's just go get some street food.
And so I get on, I want to try their real stuff. Like, I don't want this tourist stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I get on Instagram and I'm like talking, but my eyes are like watered because I'm irritated. Like, really? I got to pay $800 for this? Nothing about this was good. It was a 3-course meal, a drink. Not even my drink was good.
Oh.
And so
That was
and
the-
she
that was
I
that-
wasn't even there.
That was that one lesson that just like
yeah, and so I posted And so many people were like, da 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 da. And it was one guy, he was like, that's my second home. Let me tell you everywhere to go.
Oh, perfect.
And we went to like this one burger spot.
Oh, that was
we
really
ordered
good.
2 burgers.
It was
each.
so fresh.
Like
what country is this in?
We were in Paris.
We were
Paris.
in Paris.
Okay, yeah.
And when we went to London, everything was everybody speaks English.
Yeah.
But in Paris, it was like
Yeah, it's
my
hit or miss
feelings were
there,
so hurt. I was like, I don't want any more French food. Like that's not my thing. I
Like,
like
let's
my
go to
food.
McDonald's.
Yeah, I was like, can we try French fries? I want to try McDonald's French fries, but my best friend was so bougie. She was like, no.
No, we got to try something from that country. Yeah.
But yeah. Let's see.
What's the hardest thing you've had to endure?
Business wise?
Anything. It can be business or personal.
Well, personal, I don't know if we want to get into it. It's so dark. When I was 18, I went through, I'm not going to go into detail, but when I was 18, there's a reason why. I have a why. Everybody has a why. There's a reason why I go so hard for what it is that I do. When I was 18, I went through a very, very traumatic event. Completely shook my world. At some point, I will speak on it publicly, but it has to be in the right time, in the right setting, on my terms, on my own, but that event put me in a very dark hole, like an abyss, what felt like an abyss. And shortly after that event, I was held at gunpoint at a gas station in Arlington. That gas station doesn't exist anymore. The new basketball arena for the UTA is on that land now. But it was a Shell gas station in Arlington. I was held at gunpoint shortly after this event. So you can just imagine the surmounting. The gunman fired a warning shot in my ear, in this ear, and I'm actually partially deaf in this ear. Most people don't know that. And if someone talks very low, you'll hear me asking people to repeat themselves a million times, and I hate it, but I never like speaking about that. And it just, I was angry for years after that. I mean, I had to go through an entire legal battle. My family had no idea about it. I didn't want them to know. They, of course, know everything now. And I would say for 7 or 8 years, I was just like living kind of lost. Like I knew I had so much in me. I knew I was ordained for greatness, but I was like, my identity was my pain. Like that's what I would lead with in conversation. Like that would be how I explained who I was. And 4 years after everything happened, I told my mom, and she was like really encouraging me to get help and talk to somebody. And I went to like 6 sessions with a therapist. I didn't like her, I didn't trust her, and I stopped. And then 4 years after that, so now we're coming up on 8 years after all this happened to me, there was a moment where I was like, this is not the life I want for myself. And I took it upon myself to seek a Christian trauma counselor that could like really help me through everything I was dealing with. And I have to say, a Black woman changed my life. And for, most of my career, you'll always find in some way me portraying, doing some sort of figurative work to highlight Black women. I don't know if you ever paid attention, but I it's for a reason. A Black woman changed my life. And I remember going into my first session, and she had me do all this paperwork, so she already knows on paper what happened, but I'm now having to say it all. And I remember her saying at the very end of our session, she was like, I like you, Marian, because you're a thinker. A lot of people come up in here and they're not high level thinkers, but right now your problem is you think like this. and I'm going to teach you to think like this. And when she put it like that, for some reason, obviously that stuck with me. I've never forgotten that. I always tell people, don't allow for the terrible things that happen throughout your day, throughout your life. Take the time to feel it and work through it, but don't let it completely consume your life. Take inventory of what's truly bothering you. If you're having a bad day and you're like, what is it? Like, why am I in this space? And ask yourself, okay, this is bothering me, this is bothering me, this is, okay. This one I can control, so let me work on that. This one's completely out of my control, so what am I gonna do? You gotta just, and start, doing the little thing on the board, and like in your own mind and with your own emotions. But yeah, I would say, like, that's what was the catalyst, truly, when I went to speak to this Black therapist, is where everything started to, like, fall into place with my life, with my art, finding what my purpose was. And the beauty, I get very frustrated at times. My inner circle is who I vent to, and they know there are so many times when I'm like, oh my God, like, if anybody should have a collaboration, it should be me. Like, what is the deal? Like, why am I should have this. Like, I'm intelligent, I'm immensely talented. More than that, I'm skilled, I'm articulate, and I get so, like, right? I get so frustrated, but I have to remind myself, the beauty about my journey is that I have had the most pure, organic, incremental growth in my business, in my personal life, in my mentality, in everything. God knows exactly what I need, what I can handle, what I need to learn. Baby girl, you're not ready for that yet. Focus on you mastered that? I'm gonna graduate you to this. Oh, okay, you did that? Oh, you did a piece for that NBA player? Okay, I'm gonna get, I can get you Walmart. I'm gonna get you a thing with Walmart. Oh, okay, biggest retailer in the world, bigger than Amazon. But there's moments a couple years ago where I would have been like, woe is me, I should have got, Yeah, anyway. Sorry.
I always say
that was a whole tangent.
No, I actually talked about that in a team meeting one day. I was telling the girls, I was like, I had a job, and I was, like, really good at my job, and I didn't make nothing. And I ended up, and I posted about this, I ended up training people above me to do their job because I was so good at my job. And I would be so angry, and, like, I had other stuff, we all have our traumas. And so I would be so angry, and I'd be like, I'm just ready to get up out of here. And I would apply for jobs. Nobody would hire me. Nobody would do anything. And then one day it just, like, hit me. And I always say Sarah Jakes is, like, my best friend, because I started listening to her. I started watching her podcast because she was going through her divorce, and she shared her journey publicly. And so it made me go through my emotions with myself, like, okay, this is what you feel. So I had started blogging and everything. Nobody probably was reading my blog, but it was for me. It was a public journal that I was sharing with whoever randomly ran across it. And so the crazy part about it was I learned to appreciate the phase I was in, because I couldn't leave this step until I appreciated this phase. And the minute I appreciated this phase, I got fired and another door opened. Yep. And so when I thought, like, oh, I'm falling, nope, somebody came and pulled me up. Yeah. And I didn't even apply for the job that I got. And then
everything's preparing you.
And it was something in real estate. I was leaving a city job, and I went to work somewhere in real estate. Crazy part is I wanted to be a realtor. And then I was working there, and my boss was like, I'll pay for this for you. I met a lady. She told me exactly what to do to prepare for a test. Wow. And then I remember I got a promotion, and my boss, I got the promotion because I had a license in real estate. I got wrote up like a couple of months later because I had a license in real estate. And it took that for me to quit my job. But the crazy part is when she wrote me up, I went in my office, I was angry, I was sitting there, and I was like, appreciate where you're at, appreciate. Like, that was a conversation I kept saying to myself, or I kept having with myself at that very moment, and I had to appreciate where I was at. And then I walked out of there, I had a quit date.
Yeah.
And I told myself, you're quitting on this day. I don't care how much money you have saved. I don't care where what your situation is, you have to go. But it's important that we understand that even in the struggle of entrepreneurship, like, appreciate where you're at.
Yep.
Because you're going to get frustrated. You're going to struggle. You're going to feel like the people that are supposed to support you aren't supporting you.
Yeah. No one's going to celebrate you like you celebrate you, because no one knows what it took to be where you are.
Yeah.
No one's going to get it. You think people went crazy for me doing Walmart?
I say that all the time.
Good job.
cares.
Yeah,
But
I
they
say-
have no idea dealing with the publicist that screwed me over, and they don't know any of that stuff. They don't
Yeah.
even-
I say that
You
all
have
the
to
time.
always make sure
you
you
brag about you, and then you'll find that everybody else is your cheerleader. It's the strangers that come, and then it's the people that's closest to you
Yeah.
that come last.
Yeah, exactly. Your whole business is sustained by strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, not by friends and family.
Yeah.
Friends and family are great, no question. But yeah,
They're
Yeah.
not going to pay the bills.
yeah, they're not. They're just not.
So, okay. With that being said, how old were you when you first started painting?
Painting or just like art?
Art. Let's do art.
So I always was artistic as a kid. Crafts, drawings, all that kind of stuff. Like, we have stuff from when I was 3, 4. But truly, like, applying myself, I was 13. My dad studied architecture in Egypt. He wanted me to go pull these architecture drawings from the closet so he could, like, show me and reminisce. And he, rolls out these blueprints, and everything's by hand. This is before AutoCAD, software. Everything's by hand. And his line work and his shading, I'm like blown away. I said, Daddy, you drew that? He's like, yes, I drew that. And so he had this architecture, like, drawing table, the slanted with all the little tools. So when I was 13, I used to go sit at his drawing table on this, I'll never forget this stool. He still has it. It's this padded stool with this funny print on it. And I used to sit at his table, and I would draw my favorite basketball players and cartoons and whatever. And then I got to high school, and they said, you need to pick an elective, art, band, choir, drama, whatever. I picked art. The art teacher put one of those wooden figurines that you can kind of like manipulate, and she put it in the center of the table. She was like, everybody draw what you see from your angle and do a cool background. Draw the figure. And so I start going, and I'm like, oh, like,
Pretty good.
I have something here. And she noticed it too, and she fostered that love for art in me, and I did little state art competitions and etc. And then when it's time to graduate and go to college, I had partial basketball scholarships at a few different schools around the country, but I ended up getting an academic scholarship at UTA, and full. And because I had good SAT scores, because I can write an essay. And I told my parents I want to study art, and I have Egyptian parents. They were like,
no.
ain't no way you are wasting a scholarship on art. Pick a real job. This ain't a job. Like, so I studied exercise science because I was really into sports, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll be like an athletic trainer, or athletic trainer, not like personal trainer, like the ones that like run on the field with injuries, or a physical therapist. And to keep it short, that love for art, it just never went away. And I always say I was created by a creator to create. That's my purpose, is to create. And to create doesn't just mean paintings, and doesn't just mean merch. It means to create conversation. It means to create an idea in your mind. It means to create relationship with people. And so I always kept that love for art. I found myself working a million different jobs. I worked for the government. I worked retail management. I was a manager for Target. I was a manager for Sprouts. Long story short, I ended up working the bulk of my career as an operations manager, which is perfect for me because I'm very process driven. I am a walking oxymoron. I am type A on one side, and I am very creative and very, let's free spirit. And then on the other side, I am very organized and detailed and process driven. And it's the perfect balance to run a real business, to be a successful artist. I was working as an operations manager for like 7 years total. The last 4, I worked as a operations at a startup company. What turned out to be a very toxic environment. I had a situation happen when I first started that job. I was living in Addison, in this one little pocket of Addison where it was like, part of it's like being cleaned up and gentrified, and part of it's like kind of grimy. And this drug addict punched me in the eye in the parking lot, and I had a big black eye, and I was like, I gotta move. Like, I just got a new job in Plano, Frisco area. Like, I just saw a drug deal go down a day ago. I'm getting punched in the face in the parking lot. Like, it's time to go. And so I moved up to Plano. I move up to Plano, and the rent is substantially higher, like $600 a more. At that time, I'm not making, I moved to Plano with, it's so crazy to say this out loud knowing where I am now, because that's not the case now. I had $1,200 in my bank account at this time. And I moved to Plano, and I tell my boss, I might have to take a second job because what you're paying me is not going to like really cover everything up here. And he was like, if you take a second job, you have to disclose it to us. You signed a non-compete. We have to approve it, all this stuff. So I was like, all right. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I just like take my art and like make it a business? So I used to sit on my work computer after hours and build my website. I built my website myself. I designed my business cards. I designed my own logo with the M's. There's a meaning behind that. Everything with me has a meaning. You know, I just talked about I just talked about the duality that is me. The 2 M's, Marian Mekhail, with the line down the middle. It's meant to represent that, both sides of who I am. And I started doing local shows and pop-up shops at coffee shops and this and that. Get the name going, get the brand awareness, and then
I remember you used to do the acrylic pieces, and you would record yourself doing the acrylic pieces in your living room. And you would
those would go viral.
You would like literally move it, and then when you would finish it, I'd be like, wow. And I would send it to my friends, and I'd be like, look at that. I wonder if I could do that, because I used to
think she was an artist.
I used to think I could paint too, okay?
You are an artist.
And so I was like, I'm going to try that. And then I went to the paint store, and I saw how much paint was. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
And then you realize, oh, that's why these artists price things the way they do.
So expensive.
It's not cheap.
Well, what I was going to do was paint pictures and give it to my clients for closing gifts.
Yeah, I remember that.
I talked to you,
you
about
talked
that?
about this idea. Yeah, you were like, I think it'd be cool to like gift them.
I don't even remember telling you that.
Yeah,
That's
I
crazy.
remember that.
And so I wanted to do that because it would be a conversation piece.
Yeah.
And so if somebody said, that's an ugly picture, where's that from? Or that's a nice
my
picture.
realtor gave it to me.
Or that's a nice picture, where's that? Because
I didn't want to hurt her feelings.
I had art pieces that we hung in our places for a long time, and people would always be like, that's nice, where's that from? And I'd be like, I painted it.
Oh, amazing.
But it was only like 2 pieces. Okay. And then I tried to do another, and
it was
one of
not
my
the same.
clients asked, and I tried to do another, and the pressure was on, and I didn't live up to the pressure. And my boyfriend would always be like, it's nice. And I'd be like, it's ugly. It was ugly.
Imagine what goes through an artist's mind when you have something in your mind and then you try to translate it and it doesn't come out quite like you thought it would. But everyone else is like, oh my God, I love that. Wow. And you're like, that's trash. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's what I think is dope. Because I remember you being in your living room. I think you were in your living room, right? And you would do
I didn't even have a
those
couch.
pieces.
I just do it on the floor.
See, the camera did
I didn't
not
have a
show
couch.
all of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I just remember you doing that, and you would do it, and then you would show the final piece.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, that's
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And I think that's how I started following you.
Yeah.
And then you hung with somebody that is actually a client of ours. And so when you hung with her, and I would always see y'all together, I would be like, oh, okay.
Who's the client?
Stevie? Nikki?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Y'all were like really close. Y'all were
Yeah,
inseparable
I
back
love
then.
Stevie, yeah.
And so I remember, and I think she would
I
always
call her
post
Nikki.
you. Yeah,
Yes,
I call her Nikki
uh-huh,
too. She calls her Stevie.
Mm-hmm.
Just because her Instagram,
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
Stevie. And she's like, who?
She likes to be called Nikki by the ones that know her.
Yeah, when she says Stevie, I'm always like, who? Who are you talking
Like, you know the girl on Instagram. Her name is Stevie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what would you say? Oh, or you
I was going to ask, what was your first art piece that you sold?
The first art piece that I sold was a skyline of Dallas. It was, I did it, and my ex-boyfriend at the time bought it. That was the first piece ever I sold.
Is that how
At
y'all
least he
started
supported
dating?
you.
Well, we had already been dating.
Oh, okay.
And he saw it and was like, oh my God, yeah, I need that. So, yeah, I love that he supported me. Yeah, but that was like well over a decade ago, so.
What would you say is your favorite art piece that you've ever done?
People ask that, and it's like asking a parent what their favorite child is. Favorite art piece I've ever done.
Or one that touched your heart, like so much
Yeah.
that maybe you cried, like
Oh.
making it, like it
Oh.
had so much depth
Okay.
and meaning to you.
Okay. It's actually a piece that recently sold in June 1st. Yeah. One of the coaches for the Cowboys purchased
Oh,
it.
the one you told me where you did the art class with his daughters.
Yes. So, I know Ryan Clark, who is, ESPN analyst, former NFL Pro Bowler, Super Bowl player, Super Bowl winners, etc. He is good friends with a coach a current coach for the Cowboys. He introduced him to my work. The coach told me my daughters love art. So when I decided that I was going to start doing private instruction at my studio, I offered it to them, just free of charge, just to show them kind of what it's all about. So to my surprise, he came not only with his two girls, but with his wife and his son. The whole family came to the studio, which was amazing, because when the spouse is present, decisions can be made. When the spouse is not present, we're talking about business 101.
Yeah.
If a client says to you, on my end, this is just my world.
It's ours too.
If
It's
a
ours
guy
too.
says to you, I love this painting, oh my God, I'm gonna buy it. Let me just talk to my wife. Consider that gone. Just wave goodbye. He's not coming back. That's
Lost
just
a
how,
listing like that.
yeah, that's it. They have to feel involved in the decision making. So they all come, and I'm showing them all the works, and we're kind of walking through the studio, and they both stopped at this one particular piece, and I'm explaining why I love that piece so much. And they were like, can you explain this piece? And so I told them the piece is titled Bukhur. Bukhur in Arabic means incense. In the church I grew up in, the priest takes this bowl with chains.
I know what piece you're talking about.
You know which piece I'm talking about. He takes this bowl, and it has chains on it, and he puts in it a hot coal, and on top of the hot coal he puts incense. And he goes around the whole congregation, and he, spreads the smoke around everybody. And during that time, you're supposed to be saying your prayers, because the symbolism is as the smoke naturally lifts, your prayers will be lifted to heaven. So I don't attend that church consistently anymore for very personal reasons. But last year, my cousin got married, and she had a traditional ceremony in the church. And I was the maid of honor. So I'm standing at the front of all the bridesmaids. So I'm the closest to everything going on, and the priest, right? So he starts doing that, and all of a sudden this like wave of emotion hit me, and I start crying. And I'm like, Lord, and it was good because I could mask it as like tears of joy for the happy couple, but I was like, okay, God, I know I don't honor you in everything I do. I know I don't live my life as you would want me to in everything I do. But I pray that I honor you with my work. I pray that I honor you with the work of my hands. I pray that when my nieces see what I'm doing, they see what they're capable of, and that sky's the limit. I pray that you use my work so that I can bring glory to you and speak about you. Because like, I'm not the person that's just, it's not the right approach to push God on people. It's not the right approach to, you know, did you know that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior? Like, that's not, you know.
The people with the Bible.
But yeah, like Bible thumping people, that's not, you know, even political decisions should not be made based on your beliefs. I believe that. But I pray that God just use this as a means for me to like open that, because it's really, I know that this is not about me. I know that everything I'm doing is not about me. And so I knew when I felt all of that, it had to be channeled into a piece. And so that piece is this man, and he's lifting this bowl, like fervently pushing it towards heaven. And there's this smoke billowing out of the bowl, and all the smoke is black reflective glass, and it just dances. And there's birds flying all around him, and they represent like intercessors on your behalf. The birds are going to fly up with the smoke and get as close to heaven as they can and chirp your prayers for you, you know. And so when they saw that piece and I gave this whole spiel, they were like, we're buying that. They didn't think. And I love clients like that, where it's, you don't have to mull it over. You know,
That's for you.
and when you see, I mean, they have a good eye because they know their space. When you see how perfect that piece fits in the exact space they wanted, the lighting, their railing on their stairwell, the furniture, their framing, that piece was for them. And the beauty of the whole thing is that that piece sold on Good Friday. Crazy. Yeah. So that's like, those are the stories that, if you ask me what's my favorite piece, it's things like that. It's, you know, it's not, oh, I did this piece for some big name. I did this piece for Rick Ross. I did it. Like, that's cool, but like, that's what I do this for. Yeah. And I had my best friend from Houston come in town, and she brought a whole crew with her to the studio. It was really cool. And I was telling them, there's a difference between talent and skill. Me doing a dope ass Kobe Bryant piece covered in glass is dope. It requires skill. But talent is to take
Has a meaning.
personal context, spiritual context, biblical context, mythological, literary, and weave it all into something that has a deeper meaning. Because anybody can take a picture of Kobe Bryant and paint it as they see it and in a cool way and do it super realistic. But like at that point, like just buy the picture. Like photorealism is cool and all, but like, okay, great, skill, talent. So to be able to do both is nice, because the skill, those pieces pay, they fund me being able to do those pieces.
Because you get to do the commissioned art of family pictures.
And don't get me wrong, we love commissions. I'm never gonna like I want y'all to keep ordering commissions. Don't stop ordering commissions. But the investment pieces, there's a difference. If you're wanting a meaningful piece that you want to pass down and it's a family portrait, wonderful. But if you're looking for an investment piece, something that you can down the line really it carries value, originals, which is what that Bahor piece was, an original. So.
I knew the story about them buying it. I didn't know the meaning behind the painting.
Yeah.
I had, when you start describing it, I'm like, wait, I know this picture.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
So, okay. So, what advice would you give to any other artist wanting to pursue their dreams full time?
So many things. Take calculated risks. Pay attention to who your audience is. What is the audience you are targeting? Because if you are throwing spaghetti at the wall, you might find that an audience has gravitated towards you that you weren't intending. And then now you have to work to shift that audience. Protect yourself. Learn how to read and create contracts, you know, because it's grimy out here. It is real grimy. Protect yourself legally and understand what you need out of any and everything, and make sure those needs are met. Also know how to be malleable enough to work with the other side and give them what they need. It's a give and take. I would tell them that you cannot express any and every idea to any and every one. Protect what you have in your mind. And I'm not just saying that because someone might steal something. No. Someone may impart energies onto you, and unintentionally maybe. They don't have ill will, but it might make you now question what you knew in your heart. I spoke to you guys off camera about a decision I'm thinking about making in the next several months. And I expressed that decision to my parents, and they're very supportive. And I expressed that decision to my brother and my sister-in-law, because my parents, they really know, you know, I talk to them about everything going on business-wise, like what, you know. I expressed that decision to my brother and my sister-in-law, and they were very against that decision. And it made me for a year question that decision and shelve it. And I spoke to that was my brother and my sister-in-law. I spoke to my sister-in-law's sister-in-law. So my sister-in-law's brother's wife, who I adore. Hi, Kelly. And she said to me, why would you let their opinion affect what you're going to do? Because you're asking two people who have, sorry, Anthony and Gigi, they're not going to watch this, but you're asking two people who have never made any real risks in their life. You're asking them about a decision, and they've never made any real true, they've never done what you're doing. So why would you ask? Yeah. And when she said it, I was like, yeah. You know, so I would tell artists, like, be very mindful who you share everything with. And be intentional. I mean, that would just be my biggest thing, is be very intentional. When I say intentional, I don't mean that every piece has to have a meaning or this and that. No, but like, what makes a successful artist is being strategic. You know, like, have an idea of where it is you want to go, so you can, otherwise you're just flying by the seat of your pants and you don't know where you're going to end up.
You're really free-spirited.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So when you decided to do art full-time, because I kind of know this answer already, but when you decided to do art full-time, you talked to your parents about it. What did they say?
They were apprehensive, for sure. You have to remember that I was 30 when I was going to, 29, 30, when I was going to make that decision. I had been funding my own life for the last 7 or 8 years. I don't ask them for a single thing. They literally don't give me a dime. So it's not like they can, you know, really push their agenda and say no, you know, because what are they going to do? Like, it's not like I'm looking to them for financial support. So, and I say that because I had an Egyptian young man DM me and say, hey, I am, you know, studying to get my to be a doctor, and I want to pursue other things. How did you get your parents' support and X, Y, and Z? And I said, do your parents pay for your schooling? He said, yes. Do your parents pay for your lifestyle? He said, yes. I said, well, then they can say whatever they want. They're funding your life. So you have to do things their way. If you want to do things your own way, balance what it is that they're wanting and find a way to create what it is you're wanting to do on the side and grow it and build it to where you can sustain and leave what they're doing. But otherwise, of course they're entitled to their opinion because they're paying for it. So when I told my parents I wanted to leave my job and do, you know, they asked me a whole bunch of questions. And I'm so glad they did, because it was like, you need to have the answer to these questions if you're going to do what you want to do. What are you going to do about your retirement? What are you going to do about health insurance? You know, what are you going to do about just
Girl, there
all
were some good questions, because
all the
nobody thinks
things.
about that when you're
And they're not
self-employed.
asking it in a like
Hateful way,
in a
yeah.
in a scare
like, think
tactic
about
way.
it.
It's like, if you were really going to do this, how much do you have saved up right now? Do you have 6 months? Do you have a year? What do you know? But I was so on it. I knew I did not want to leave my job without at least a year's worth of expenses. So I worked for 4 years balancing both until I was inundated with commissions. I couldn't even do my job because I had 10, 15 commissions lined up. You know, like there's literally no way I can do both. You know, so others are a little bit more, I am a risk taker, but I'm very strategic and like, oh, okay. You know, whereas others are a little bit more, you know, like more brave. But yeah, my parents were hesitantly supportive. But I always tell this story. I left my job in 2019, so I'm going into my 4th year of being a full-time artist. And in 2019, I did that show that you attended. And I did that show 7 months after I left my job. And I remember the show was in September, and my birthday is in late August. And my parents came out to, I was living in Plano at the time. They came out to Plano, take me to dinner for my birthday. And we're walking to the car, and my dad says, so how's everything coming with your show prep and whatever? I said, it's good, you know, good. We're almost at the finish line. Da, da, da. And he's like, so how much are you thinking about selling these pieces for? And I was like, well, like the small, like, like
my mom was saying,
you know,
so
like, how much you thinking you're gonna? And so I'm like, well, the smaller, like, just like sketches that I'm framing, I'm doing like $150, like $150. But like the larger, more intricate pieces, and this is 3 years ago. The larger, more intricate pieces, they're like, you know, $2,500, $3,000. And he's like, yeah, Marian, in Arabic, yeah, Marian, you really think you're gonna sell $3,000 painting? And I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah. Now I won't do anything for less than $4,000 on a commission. Like, but so when I tell him, yeah, this piece sold for $10K, he's like,
that was my next question. So what does he say about your prices?
He's
now?
like, I don't. He's like, and I said this on another podcast, but people can't envision for themselves what, you know, like sometimes until you bring something to life, until you flesh it out for them, they can't even imagine it. And my dad comes from a different world. Literally, Egypt, when you go to Egypt, it's a different world. And in the time frame that he grew up in is very different. So for him, he's like, oh, like that's even possible? I would have never thought that's possible. And my mom said this to me 2 weeks ago. And I took it with a grain of salt. She said, you know, Marian, sometimes when you talk to some people, you think so big, it makes them feel small. Sometimes you sit in rooms, you make people feel small. And I'm like, that's their problem. Because you don't think big enough for yourself. I think big for myself because I used to think so little of myself, and I won't go back to that. Think big for yourself. So I always remember that story because, like, to him, $2,000 painting was just like absurd. Like, there's no way.
Like, who's gonna pay that?
I remember going to the art show, and I know what I paid for my piece. And so when I saw the 2,000, I was like, oh my gosh, because there's a sister piece to this.
Yes.
And I saw it on the wall, and I saw how much it was going for, and I was like, oh my God, my piece is worth it.
Well, now that piece is
Like, I'm never getting rid of this.
Don't get rid of it.
I was like, my piece is worth this much. And then you sold it, and we were going back and forth about that piece
I remember
for a
that
while
piece,
because you were like, Amber, you need to buy this piece
because it's gonna.
And I couldn't wrap my head around. Like, I was like your dad. I couldn't wrap my head around spending it. And now I'm like Jay-Z. Like, dang, I should have bought that piece because
Because
now
I
it's
bought
worth
this piece
it.
for $1 million. Now it's worth 20 million. You know, there's this guy that DM'd me, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. And he was like, hey, how much for a piece? Like for a custom piece, whatever. So I sent him my pricing, sizing chart, whatever. And he's like, oh, damn, that, you know, whatever. And I'm like, who is this guy? I scroll up. He had inquired about a piece 2 years ago. And he was like, oh, let me think on it, you know, da-da-da. So I scrolled back down and I said, hey, I just scrolled up and realized that you asked about a piece 2 years ago. You realize that my valuation went up 8 times in those 2 years. Had you bought that piece for that price, it'd be worth 8 times what you bought it for. But you slept. And he was like, I know, I'm kicking myself. Which I appreciate that he was like, he understood why I'm saying it. It's not because I'm trying to like make you feel bad. I'm trying to educate you, you know. And people will say, "Oh, I'm saving up. When I get my new house, I'm gonna get." And I'm like, when you get your new house, if you can afford it now, you. I mean, sorry, but not sorry. Yeah.
No, when I first got that piece, I wanted to turn it sideways.
Oh.
And you don't even know this story. I wanted to turn it sideways, and I was like, oh, but her M's are right here. I could paint over them. And then I was like, no, because what if the value goes up?
Yeah, she was like,
Now
what
you
if
could.
one day?
Now you can hang it however you want because it's it's yours. You own it. But I would advise anybody not to
and
do
I
that.
talked to her and my best friend about it, and then I was like, what if the value goes up?
Well,
and
what
I was
I've
like,
been
no.
doing lately is I sign the back. I sign the back and I'll leave a little message if I feel so inclined. On some pieces, I'll sign the front. But on some pieces, if it detracts from the meaning of the piece, I will sign the back.
Yeah,
that way you don't have to think about.
The M's are there, but then the M's are inside of the painting.
There's
too.
another, there are 2 M's on the top left. Yeah.
What advice would you give younger Marian? Since we're giving new artist advice, now what advice would you give little girl? Let's say 13-year-old,
Like
because
your
that's
niece.
when you first started painting.
Listen to yourself. Listen to that little voice inside you that guides you. You know, because we all have that, like, that little voice. And any time I've not listened to that voice, I've regretted it. Even even recently, you know, you meet somebody and you're like, I don't know, you know, no, like, give them a chance. But in your heart, you know, listen to that voice. It's there for a reason. And when you hear it even whisper, you need to tune in. I would say to my younger self, invest. You know, we weren't really taught that growing up. I was brought up by, you know, foreign parents, and they cared about stability and they cared about, you know, so it was always like this scarcity mentality when it came to money, you know, saving, just save, you know, but never like invested. My parents weren't. I've watched them now in their, you know, later years. Now they're like really starting to get into investing, and they told me something I should invest in, but I wish I had learned that earlier. And I think this younger generation is really good about it. Like, they're all into cryptocurrency, and they're so much more savvier than we were. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else I would tell myself. You got this. You got this.
And a lighter question, what would be your snow cone flavor of choice?
Oh, anything sour. I love sour stuff. Like sour punch straws,
Like
warheads, all the sours.
So like Granny Smith apples.
Yes, like anything super tart, sour. I do like that one that's like dragon's blood or whatever. It's like kind of red.
Oh,
It's like
tiger's blood.
tiger's blood. What did I say? Dragon?
Dragon.
Tiger's blood, but with like a sour on top.
Like pickles. Or no pickles.
No
isn't it?
pickles. No pickles. But yeah, anything like sour. I love sour. What about you? What kind do you like?
I like tiger's blood.
Yeah.
We actually got some yesterday, and I got Barbie and wedding cake together.
What's Barbie?
I don't know what it's made of.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sweet and like light.
I feel like she told us what it was.
I didn't ask her what Barbie was
Okay.
because I've had it before. and
I
it
had
tastes
something
good.
mixed with tiger's blood.
I hadn't had a
yesterday.
snow cone in so long, and then my building had a food truck snow cone truck.
That's like my guilty pleasure. So like I don't eat
I
ice
love it.
cream. I don't really eat cake.
Ice cream.
But
I live for
You know,
ice
it's National Ice Cream Month.
cream.
Amber told me
Month?
yesterday.
no, I think it's day. Jason's
You
Deli.
told me
So
it was
I guess I'm on
month.
Jason's Deli like
Oh.
list. I don't even know how I'm on
Don't
their
tell me because I'm
text-
trying to get in shape for my birthday next month.
I don't
and
even
I
know
don't
how
eat
I'm on
any
their
ice cream.
text message list, but they text
Oh,
me
I
today.
thought they emailed you.
No, it was a text, and I had my AirPod in, and I read you the text message. And it is month. July is National Ice Cream Month. We celebrate
What?
daily with free soft serve with dine-in orders, but it's always free.
It is always free. That is
That is
such
just
false
a trick.
advertising.
Unless they started charging. No.
I don't
Oh,
know.
And I
ice
haven't been
cream
in forever,
month.
but
That
I
means
went
I have
to-
to have one ice cream like cone or scoop.
Where's your
a
favorite
week.
ice cream place?
Favorite ice cream place? Well, that's tough. There's this place in Deep Ellum
Is
called
it
Jenny's.
I just told her, I was like, we need to go
I
to
just
Jenny's.
I just checked it
Okay,
out.
I've never been,
Me
and
and
we were
Whitney
in
went a
Austin, and
few
it was
weeks-
right by us. And I
Very
was like,
good.
y'all, we should just go to Jenny's because we were eating, and the lady was like, do y'all want dessert?
we
They
were
have some good
eating
flavors.
healthy, but we were
They have some
eating
good
healthy.
flavors.
It was
We were at, like, a-
semi-healthy. We had
we were
pita
at a
bread,
Mediterranean restaurant, so most of the food is like really healthy,
Yeah.
really light.
hummus.
And then she offered dessert, and the desserts probably were light, right?
Yeah.
And she looks at us and she goes, I saw on my maps that a Jenny's was really close by.
Oh, you should
And
have
I've
got the
been wanting to
Mediterranean
try
dessert.
We didn't even try. We were
They were
like
gonna
really
offer
full.
it?
We got, and it was tapas that they were serving. So it was me, her, and my mom, and we kind of shared them because we didn't know how hungry we were, and we also didn't know how
we were gonna
full
like
we
it.
would be.
Yeah.
And if we'd like it.
Yeah,
Because that was our first time there. We were
Yeah.
like, we don't know. We're
was
based
just
off the
pretty.
Yelp pictures.
Yeah, it was just a pretty restaurant, so we wanted to eat there.
Yeah, Jenny's is good. I was very surprised. My whole family, after a Father's Day thing, we took everybody to this place called Creamistry.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what is this gimmicky BS? Like,
It's
they over here
good.
doing all this with the
Nitrogen.
oh my God. Like, just give me some ice cream. Like, and then I ate it and I was like, oh, this is actually really good.
Mm-hmm. Have
Yeah,
you ever
it was
had
actually
Joy
good.
macaroons? They have the macaroon ice cream sandwiches.
No, that sounds good
I
too.
take Tony there sometimes after school.
Okay, I'm
It's
gonna
a
have to check
place
out all these
in
places.
LA that we go to. Is it called Milk?
Yeah,
Yeah, milk. Oh,
And
I
they-
like milk.
So it's like
yes,
milk.
I like milk.
So it's like milk,
Okay,
but
I'll have
here.
to check
Now
it
that's
out.
the one time that I'll eat ice cream. Like when we go to LA, we go to Milk.
Milk,
I'll
yeah.
get the macaroon ice cream sandwiches.
You'll eat them from Joy too.
Yeah, but I can't eat the whole thing. But I think when we're on vacation, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's vacation.
Yeah, it's vacation. yeah.
But I think that is it, unless you had another question.
Oh no, you have to tell everyone about your grand opening
Oh,
at your
yes.
space.
Well, first of all, can we please give a little round of applause to the Dorsey group for helping me find my space? It's so crazy. Like in December of this past year, I was like, I think it's time to get like a commercial studio. I want a place for gallery space, like a place for clients to be able to come see the work. You know, I was working out of my loft. I had this great, art studio space, but the up and down with the supplies and, not being able to truly show the work because people have to walk through my place to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I need to find a place. And of course, I'm like, you know what? Like, who better than two boss ladies who have a real estate?
Was it right after your event?
Yes.
'Cause
So my
yeah,
event
yeah,
was
she
in.
texted you like maybe a day or
I
two
was
later.
like,
Yeah.
I was sitting at
My
my
event was in
desk and your
November.
text came through, and I was like, oh, Marian just texted me. And then
Yeah.
she was like, who's Marian? I was like, the painter, because that's literally how your number's
Every-
still
yeah.
saved
Marian
in
the
my phone.
Marian the painter. I love it.
And so I was like, the painter. And then I opened it. I was like, she wants a commercial space.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I have the perfect person.
Yeah.
And then we did the group text, and the rest,
The rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
So moved in February. I've gotten everything where I want it to be. And August 6th, Saturday, August 6th, I'm hosting like a studio warming. It's like the equivalent to a housewarming, studio warming. And it'll be from 1 to 7, but you can like reserve a time slot. So the time slots are 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7. That way, if you have other plans, you can still attend. We're getting Hornitos to sponsor tequila, and little gifts and giveaways, and I'm going to do an artist talk and do a little Q&A with the guests, and walk through some of the pieces and all of that. I think it'll be a really great time. So go on my website and go to www.marianmekhail.com/studio-warming, and I guess we could put a little but yeah, I would love for you guys to register and attend. And if you don't live in Dallas but would want to support, there's also a I can't make it but want to donate buttons, so you can always click that. Would love to see you guys there.
And then outside of that, if somebody wants to come to your gallery, how does that work?
Yeah, so on my website, marianmekhail.com, there's a button that says scheduling. So you click scheduling and you click studio visit, and then you'll go in and input your information, and then once you do, you'll get an email with a Calendly link, and you go in and just pick whatever day and time you want that's open, and I will meet you then and there. So it's by appointment.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it is still my workspace, and if everybody's just walking in and out, I'll never get anything done. So I have the studio visits by appointment, but that way I have dedicated time to talk, about the pieces and walk you through some of the meanings and talk business or commissions if you want to do a custom piece, or you're looking for original, or you want to buy a print, whatever.
Because you definitely transitioned it from the way it was. Because I remember it was like, okay, is it going to be ready on time? And they're like, we're going to have to push it back. And you're like, they can't push it back.
Like, nope.
This is the latest I will move in. If not, I don't want it.
I don't
like,
even
oh my
want
gosh,
it.
Marian, I don't know. Like they said, the workers
But
are in
what's
there.
so
They're
crazy
like,
is
it's going to be done tomorrow. We're like,
when you first showed it to me, I was like, we envision, okay, we're gonna knock out these walls. Okay, they gotta repaint everything because I can't have blue walls. That will distort the colors of the pieces. It has to be white walls. I want them to, whatever.
And then you're like, they're painting. They're gonna mess up these floors.
And I'm like, okay, well, they're gonna paint and mess up the floor. So they need to put a sealant so that when I drop paint, and I want it in my contract that if I drop paint on the floor, now the walls I will always retouch putty and touch up the walls. But the floor, if I get paint on the floor, I want to be able to clean it up. And if there are any remnants, it's in my contract that whatever. She's a painter. What are we gonna do? So they were like, yeah, we'll do it. So it all worked out perfectly. Yeah. Then I got, my electrician to install in, gallery lighting and signage and all the things. So
that's so exciting.
Yeah.
I want to say I'm really proud of you. Like, I literally watched
Likewise. Look at what y'all are doing.
Yeah, I literally watched you do acrylic art on your living room
with
floor.
no sofa.
And not even knowing you didn't have a sofa, but on your living room floor. And it's like sometimes, and I literally had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and it's like sometimes you don't realize how far you come until somebody says, do you remember when you did this?
Exactly.
And so I'm just proud to see that. I picked up a picture in a Walmart parking lot. And now you have a place, like a literal location, and just the conversation we had off camera, the things that you are getting ready to do. And so I'm just proud of you.
Thank you, Amber.
And so I can't wait to, I can't say too much.
But I
see
where you are in the future
next
year.
And then
God willing,
and
we'll
then
see what
see
happens.
you there and visit you in your studio and
pressure.
Have drinks and say, girl, you remember 10 years ago? I got a text message from you.
Say, I waited for this girl. She just got her painting.
And Jill texts me and say, maybe we meet at Milk. Wink, wink. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So congratulations, and
thank you so
we
much,
will definitely
ladies.
be there on
Thank you
August
so
6th.
much for having me. Thank you for opening up your platform to me. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Congrats.
Yay, that's a wrap.
The end.